humbled to receive the Torch Award for Ethical Leadership, and I am accepting it on behalf of Aspire students, our parents, our AmeriCorps members, staff, and board of directors who I'm lucky enough to lead beside. To me, this award is in recognition of Aspire students who dream big, work hard, and show up every day in systems that are not always built for them, but who shine anyway. It's in recognition of our family, who might not be visible in circles of power, but who are hardworking, critical members of our community, and only want what all parents want, the best for their kids. It's in recognition of the Aspire team, whose leadership has shone brightly, especially over the last 2 weeks. Aspire was one of 1,000 organizations that lost our AmeriCorps funding, and we were notified that that happened effective immediately. This award is in recognition of those former AmeriCorps members who said they would return to Aspire even after the grant funding was cut, not for their meager living stipend, but to create a softer landing for our families who, without Aspire, literally had nowhere else that was safe and affordable to send their kids after school to learn. This award is also in recognition of Aspire's staff team, who shows up every day choosing apathy. I'm sorry, they don't choose apathy. They choose joy or apathy. And in true Aspire fashion, they help figure out a plan to continue our programming as it is through the end of the school year, because they know that every day matters. And it's in recognition of our board, who years ago supported my creation of a values scorecard that guides all of us at Aspire, ensuring our actions and decisions are rooted in our organizational values. These tangible steps to center our values are always important and become even more important as we navigate these difficult times. For example, our board leaned into these values and had the moral courage to approve having Aspire as the only Virginia nonprofit to sign on to a federal lawsuit challenging the illegal termination of AmeriCorps funding, because they understood that our promise to close the education opportunity gap means being a voice for our families. The Aspire community reminds me that every day leading with our values is not just possible, but it's powerful. On a personal note, I passed up 2 promotions in my earlier career because I couldn't see myself in the kind of leadership that was modeled to me. Leadership that too often replicated the same systems of harm we said that we were against. I didn't yet know that leadership could look differently, that it could look like joy and vulnerability and hope. And when I reluctantly did step into leadership, I knew I'd make a million mistakes, but I also hoped that I'd have the courage to lead differently and center equity every step of the way. Since then, I've learned that saying, I don't know, isn't just okay, but it's a leadership strategy, because it creates space for others to bring their lived experience and their talents forward. I've learned that playfulness and empathy aren't just soft skills, they're really powerful skills that allow Aspire's walls to ring with laughter even when the work is really hard. And I've learned that moral courage is contagious, and Aspire makes this type of leadership feel easy. This collective leadership makes sure our students are seen, our families are heard, and our values are not just words on a website, but they're felt in the joy, belonging, growth, and excellence in our students. And right now, that collective leadership is so important as the world feels really heavy, and Aspire has to make up 30% of our budget due to the loss of the AmeriCorps funding. Unless we close this gap, we're not going to be able to serve 1 in 3 of our students next year. And Aspire is the only daily academic after-school programming for 3rd through 8th grade graders in Arlington offered at no cost to families. So if we have to reduce the number of kids that we serve due to these cuts, there literally will be nowhere else for them to go. But despite these challenges, we are choosing to lead with hope, imagination, justice, love, and abundance. The day our students learned that our AmeriCorps funding was cut, one of them drew me this. It's a $100 bill. Another student asked, well, how much money do you need for Aspire? Because I've saved $50 and you can have it. They're leaders already, aren't they? So in closing, I want to come back to two of my personal core values, hope and a belief in enough. And I know there's a lot of fear and a sense of scarcity right now, but I also know that if an Aspire student is willing to give $50, so 1/3 of his classmates don't lose access to the high quality, daily after school and full day summer reading, math, and social and emotional support that's closing the educational opportunity gap for Arlington's most vulnerable students. Together, I know we're going to find enough to close our funding gap and do right by our kids and our families. Because limiting opportunities for students to realize their full potential is not consistent with our values, and it's not who we are. So thank you for this recognition of the amazing Aspire community, and I hope you'll continue to rally behind us during this critical time.